if you're talking about a white person, people can't be racist to white people.
Okay, so hold on. Before we have people jump in, does anybody agree with her first?
No.
Oh, you agree.
To a certain degree. Okay, let me say to a certain degree. Systematically speaking, you can't.
Wait, systematically you
okay,
can't?
like think about it like this. Yeah, white people. When have white people been oppressed? So I'm certain.
The word slave comes from the Slavic people. That's where the word slave comes from.
Yeah.
White people were the first people to be enslaved, and people. There's way more white people that have been enslaved in history than black people, hands down.
Okay, so you're saying like Jewish people, Slavic.
Yeah, anybody who's considered white or lighter skinned, there's been way more white people enslaved than black people ever.
Okay, well then I would say. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and when we think about why were black people enslaved, who sold them to Americans, their own people,
who still has slavery.
Yes.
Yeah,
Africa still has slavery today.
exactly.
Yeah, they do.
And so
Because technically slavery is not a skin color. It applies to people.
Plus, I want to verify. I wanted to just clarify something. Is that enslaving people? It doesn't have to be about race. Like you can enslave a bunch of dwarves. It wouldn't be racist.
Yeah.
black people weren't enslaved because they're black.
So
they were
it
available.
right.
I mean, that sounds horrible,
So it
but
brings up
that's
the
just the
question:
truth.
what is
Everybody.
What is racism? Isn't it? Someone define it because they keep changing the
It's
definition.
where
I
you
need
think
a
your
definition.
race is superior to another.
Or inferior.
Yes.
You can like
exactly.
say your own race is inferior.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
So-
if I say, so in your, like, I'm addressing this question to you. If I say, like, I hate white people, is that racist?
I think it's prejudice.
If I say I hate black people, is that racist?
I think it depends on what race you're. I mean, somebody bring up the definition of racism.
Well, it's
What you
thinking
said.
that your race is superior to someone's, or that your
your
race
Yeah, based on race alone.
Based on
right, or
skin
that
color.
somebody else's race, is superior
Because race is
to
skin
yours
color.
for whatever reason.
That's all it is.
Because like prejudice is like racism is prejudice against race.
Right.
So, I mean, you can say it's prejudice, but it's like, it's still racism because you're saying like, well, I hate all black people or I hate all white
I actually
people
would make even a
because-
further distinction there. I think you could be prejudiced against all sorts of people
You can.
and it not be a fully racist position.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because we can prejudge based on particulars that we gather to generalities, and you can prejudge for a variety of reasons, and that's actually a form of us navigating the world in a lot of senses. Like, anyone have kids here? I mean, the things they come home and say based in school is like,
Yeah.
it would be seen as taboo, but yet they're just describing a generality. And so the racism thing has really gotten out of control because the strictest form of racism would just be this assumption that there's superiority or inferiority only based on race, not based on a collection of behaviors even, right? Just race alone, just the distinction race. But because of that, that distinction, that definition has changed so much in the last 100 years, people think that any sort of judgment about any race that's negative is racism, but that's not the case. Like, you can just not like things about people's culture, right? Be like, I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't prefer that culture. How could that possibly be racist? So when you say white people can't be racist, that's why it was a great question from you. When you say, I don't like, I hate white people, is that racist? She says, no. If you say, I hate black people, is it racist? You were about to say yes, but you caught yourself and you said, wait a second. There's an inconsistency here.
Yeah,
And I
did a
feel-
whole YouTube video on this, like asking people, can black people be racist, or can only white people be racist? And most of them were saying like, yeah, it's because racism is because you're in a position of power. It's like, no, you can just hate people. Like, people just hated Jews because they're Jewish.
Yeah. And
it
I-
was nothing about like, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
You're
didn't
fine.
mean to you. I feel like it was really interesting when you said like it was prejudice for white people, but then it would be racist. And I feel like that comes into play because I feel like in this country specifically, because of our history with racism and how horribly black people were treated back in all those times, I feel like in today's age, a lot of white people feel guilty about everything that happened, that the guilt kind of comes into play, so you won't accept that you can have racism against white people because it almost feels like you're going against black people, almost like
Here,
right?
well, let's have you actually state your position.
I mean, the only reason, white people aren't suppressed like black people are, and different.
I'm suppressed. I'm oppressed.
I
Me
mean,
and Jim
I mean,
Bob.
with DEI recently, where like these companies and these schools
I'm left-handed.
are literally making sure that they
Are you?
bring in
Yeah,
a
I'm
certain amount
lefty.
of black
That sucks.
people, a certain amount
Yeah.
of Asian
Terrible.
people, like people from other countries, and not letting white people in. I mean, we've seen that I know that at Fordham University, which is in New York City, they had a whole issue with that in the past few years, where they were purposely making sure to like give scholarships to a certain number of black students just because they wanted their university to be more diverse. And it's like, you should be judged on how well you do in school to get into a school, especially like Fordham. It's very expensive, it's very prestigious, it's a private school, like not just because you want to make your school more diverse. Like that is racism right there to me. I believe DEI is racist.
Can you give an example of the black people in America right now being, would you say, oppressed, suppressed, oppressed?
so, I mean, white people have more advantages.
Like in the law or just like socially?
In general, socially, economically.
Can you give an example?
Is it that more white
I mean-
families choose to stay together?
No, it's poverty. Look at most of the black neighborhoods. It's poverty. It's the crime. It's
What causes
Yeah, but
poverty,
why
though?
is there so much crime in black neighborhoods?
because they're not given the same advantages white people are given.
No, it's because, like Lily was saying, that these families are not together, and when, you know, your parents don't stay together, you're more likely to get involved in crime. And the reason that these neighborhoods, these black and minority neighborhoods, are more police, it's because, you know, black men are, what are they, like 13% of the population, maybe even less than that, 6% of the population, something like that, yet they commit over 50% of the murders in this country.
Well, and also
it's like, of course they're going to be more policed in those areas where there's more crime.
And I think up to 70% of black children are born without a father in the home as well.
Yeah.
And we know from our previous discussion that that is one of the biggest determining factors for the success of a person and a community. Because before the Civil Rights Act and the welfare state was built, the black community was thriving. I mean, the Uncle Tom movies literally talk about how these communities were so great and they were based around the church and most families were staying together.
They own more businesses too.
Right, yeah, like per capita. And so what your position is that we as white people have privileges, but what we're saying is our parents just made different, and I would argue sometimes better, choices.